Guess who just got the tea about what's going over on MAGA sides, specifically with the farmers in Arkansas? Child, them Trump tariffs is kicking their asses so bad that at the most recent NEA meeting, representative assembly that took place on Friday, the farmers in Arkansas all collectively broke down in prayer. They started calling on to God. They started calling on to God because they cannot trust that Donald Trump is actually going to keep his word. See, the big beautiful bill, which a lot of these Arkansas farmers voted for, and the Trump administration is currently renaming because it did not accurately describe what was in the bill, promised a lot of the people in the agriculture industry benefits that a lot of these businesses will not live to see as they all take effect in 2026, 2027. Late 2026 and early 2027 to be exact. But like I stated, a lot of those businesses will not be around long enough to see it come into fruition. Apparently, around that time, a quarter of the farming industry in Arkansas will be out of business. Y'all already know that I always come with the evidence. I always have the clip, so stay tuned for the clip provided by ABC7.
Government steps in to save them. Farmers had no one to turn to but God. It's all they're closer to daily meeting than it's on server because we deal with your earth every day. You know, we're hurting anymore. We can't deal with what's happening to us.
Dear Lord, we are hurting here, Lord. We can't help what has happened to us. You actually could have helped it because you could have voted against it. Y'all could have voted for Kamala, but like you stated, she has a weird laugh. And here's a screenshot of the article. You can go and find it. Let's read along to the title. People have little sympathy for the Arkansas farmers who are asking Trump for emergency funding to save their farms. And because they can't trust on Trump to actually come through with these emergency funds, they started praying. I probably should have highlighted what I'm about to read, but it's in quotations at the top. It says, I have never been as worried as I am now about whether or not my kids and grandkids will be able to carry on. Welcome to the mentality of the average Black American here. Welcome to the mentality of the average Hispanic Latino person here. Welcome to the mentality of the average marginalized group member here in America. And to think that all of this could have been avoided, had you just listened to those same marginalized groups, if you would have just listened to the Black Americans here in this country, to the 92%, if you would have just listened. And now, ironically, the same tool that you used to oppress the marginalized groups in this country, the Black Americans in this country, the formerly enslaved people of America, religion, Christianity, prayer, is now the only tool that you can rely on because you can't trust in your government to look out for you. You can't trust in your government to help you. How fucking ironic. And just a reminder, because I know y'all like to forget, right? Anytime, historically speaking, by the way, the Black Americans of this country stated that they needed help, they wanted to be treated fairly, they wanted equality, you told them to pray harder. You sent them to church. You told them to pray harder. That if it's really meant for them, all they had to do was pray harder and God was going to hear them. So that's my advice to you, you farmers in Arkansas. Pray harder, okay? Just keep praying. However, I do have a strong inkling that we are not praying to the same gods. I know the God that I pray to. There's only one. I don't know what you're praying to, but pray harder, okay? God bless America.
Hey everyone, welcome to Americans React channel. As you have seen in the few clips, today's video we are going to take a closer look at how rural MAGA states are going broke, why farmers are regretting their votes, and what people across social media are saying. Stick around, let's continue with the compilation that I've made for you. Credit goes to the original creators of these clips.
We're just absolutely fucked as farmers, guys. Everything is so fucked, and I do not see anybody surviving this farm crisis that we're in. Guys, look, one of the best splorn crops that I have ever raised in my life. And because of the tariffs, China will not fucking buy it. And they are the only country in the world other than, well, they are the only country in the world that buys splorn. And so now I'm literally just chopping it and blowing it on the fucking ground because it's fucking useless, it's valueless, there's nothing I can fucking do to it. I am going to need government assistance to make it through this fucking crisis until these tariffs end. Look, I've never raised a splorn crop like this, guys. And this is just fucking heartbreaking to me. I don't know how I'm gonna survive. You know, Trump said he fucking loved us farmers, and here I am just blowing my splorn crop all over the ground. Hopefully he works a deal out where Antarctica and Mars will start buying this splorn and save the farmers. I'm sorry, splorn crop, but you're fucked.
Today in Trump's America, small-town farms in Arkansas are begging for welfare. They can't sell their soybeans to China. Who knew that so many farmers were making $10,000 an acre from China? Who knew? But instead of pulling up their bootstraps, they're going for welfare. They're going for subsidies. They're going for American handouts. Just mere months after saying, we don't support welfare programs, cut Medicare, cut Medicaid, cut everything to these LGBTQIARSTUV people. Pull up your bootstraps, Arkansas. Sell something Americans want to buy. Talk to your man Donnie Darko about the Department of War, because hell, they might be coming to your town soon. He might be bringing the National Guard to Arkansas and you won't have any farmland left anyway. Look, folks, Donnie Darko is destroying America, and if you can't see it, it's a part of the Heritage Foundation, Project 2025. Go look it up. It's a blueprint. Donnie Darko is following it to a T.
Sometimes things is 4 times what they was a year ago. The roast I used to get for $12, $15, $35. It's awful.
Everything, you know, just keeps going up.
Well, I used to spend $40 a week. Now it's $140 or something like that. I just don't think it's going to go down for a long time. They're not concerned with people like us.
They said these tariffs that they've got on, it's going to bring prices down. They're not.
It took 8 months for the farmers to start begging. Now they're going to start talking about when are the groceries coming down. When are the groceries coming down? And little did they know that the tariffs are just going to start to hit. The tariffs are just getting passed on and finalized from companies. Little do they know that last week the de minimis tariffs ended and we get trillions of dollars of what we use every day from other countries. The tariffs are going to be catastrophic on inflation. We're going to have shortages, job loss to you, loss to businesses. I don't even know if we're ever going to recover from this. Every day you're going to start seeing more of these.
Check out how Trump's policies are destroying these red state farmers who voted for him, and we're going to be right back.
Now, I've never been as worried as I am now about whether or not my kids and grandkids will be able to carry on.
He said, I love you, Mr. Trump. I need to see the fruit of your love.
5 of my customers have committed. That's how serious that this is.
And what it costs for us to farm is astronomical now.
I farm with paid-for equipment. All my tractors are 50 years old, and I can't hardly make this deal work. I think the tariffs are the ice cream on the cake of a perfect storm.
After a horrible year last year where most farmers in Arkansas Delta lost money, this year's going to be worse.
So my son will not be the 7th generation on our farm.
We're going to lose 25 or 30% of the farmers in this country if they don't do something. It has to be done, and it's not just here. It's everywhere.
Now, a lot of my liberal followers are understandably, justifiably like, well, F around and find out. But that's a little too simple for my journalistic standards. There's something deeper going on here. Because if you have a historical understanding of how propaganda works on the human mind, I think everybody who's getting messed over by these Trump policies in red states who voted for him needs to start by suing right-wing media companies for radicalizing them into doing things that are against their best interests and echo chambering them out of the information that could have them more critical about his policies. I'll reiterate, if you ain't got the bandwidth to feel nothing for these people after what they've done, I feel you. But low-key, high-key, this is tragic, yo. Because even as late as May, a survey by the Purdue company of like 400 farmers showed that 70% of them still believe that Trump's tariffs is going to have some kind of positive benefit for them. Remember that slew of executive orders that Donald Trump was just signing earlier on in the year? Well, it caused so much bureaucratic instability that it made the USDA pause funding for over 30,000 farmers in the United States. That was strike one. Strike two for the farmers was when Doge came in and gutted USAID. Everybody was like, oh, that's just a front for the CIA across the world. Maybe, but also it created automatic buyers all across the world for American-grown wheat and corn and anything that could bridge the gap for starvation. That's gone. Strike three was the deportations. These farmers literally voted for Trump to steal their workers and wonder why ain't no work getting done when all of these compounding factors are crushing them. Strike four, which is more than you're supposed to have, is what? The dude said it. The tariffs. He said it's the icing on the cake. We tried to tell y'all that it's Americans who pay the tariffs. Y'all didn't listen, so listen to these farmers. You know what's ironic? A lot of these farmers were dead silent or complicit in black farmers getting screwed over for decades by not only their peers, but by the USDA. So bad that they had to win lawsuit after lawsuit in the billions of dollars to get claims and damages done. And still the USDA was slow with paying them out. Had they not been so racist, they'd have had a larger coalition to argue for what they need. And what's even deeper is that a lot of these farmers' ancestors were given this land in the Homesteading Act of 1862, when freshly stolen land from Native Americans was given to European peasants for pennies on the dollar. We're talking about 1/10 of the U.S. landmass. The term chickens coming home to roost is a farming colloquialism that applies here with a ruthless poetic irony. I can't even really get myself to celebrate over this because I'm looking at how the sins of the father cascade down to the generations, how these farmers inherited not only land, but a culture from their forebearers that allowed them to be prime targets for propaganda like this. The only positive way that I could look at this is possibly a new beginning in disguise. Because if we're going to have an America that works for everybody, it's going to take these folks getting disappointed in this way to let this all burn down, metaphorically speaking, and plant new seeds for the future. That's just my take on it. What y'all feel? My name is Theo E.J. Wilson. Like, follow, and share this message out if you feel it. Holla back.
So the farmers fucked around and now they're finding out. Crying, begging the president for help. For problems that they voted for. For problems people like me have been warning against for years. Take a look at this farmer begging the president for help. He explains it pretty well. So you know they're not completely dumb. I feel they did a lot of this voting out of spite. Because they don't understand what's going on and they just hate minorities. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below.
Right now, we're in a very dire situation. September's upon us, harvest is starting in the deep south, and we have 0 bushels of soybeans on the books to be sold to China for this current crop that's about to come out of the field. Historically, over the last 5 years, about 1/3 of soybean sales to China would be booked. China amounts to 25% of our total U.S. soybean crop. So that would be 8 or 9% of the whole U.S. crop would normally be on the books with China right now, and we have 0. That is alarming. The farm economy as a whole is struggling. Inflation has caused our cost of production to rise drastically on every front. Commodity prices, in particular soybeans, are down about 50% from where they were 3 years ago. And our numbers are deeply in the red.
Well, here's the truth. Trump's tariffs have left MAGA farmers in crisis. China has walked away from buying 26 billion worth of soybeans, beef, pork, and corn, and that money has gone away from rural America. Meanwhile, equipment costs are skyrocketing because tractor parts and supplies are coming from overseas countries, and now they are buried under tariffs. Well, at the same time, Trump's budget cuts are hitting schools hard, healthcare and rural programs, and small towns are left holding the bill. And here is the twist. These are the same farmers who once opposed welfare, food stamps, and social safety nets. They are now begging for bailout. Isn't it funny? Isn't it hilarious? This is what I'll say. You laid with the dogs, now accept the fleas. There is no pity. People don't want no excuses. This is FAFO season for MAGA farmers, and it's shaking rural America.
I'm sure you've heard that Arkansas farmers are about to go bankrupt because of the tariffs. But this is what they voted for. Like, not only did they fail an open book test, we gave them the answers. They don't like politicians and they wanted small government. So they hired a reality star who ran, 4 casinos into the ground. That's like hiring Guy Fieri to run an airport. Actually, that's a bad comparison because Guy Fieri was actually a good businessman. Trump ran casinos into the ground. And I don't know if you know much about casinos, but they're not typically a business that doesn't make money. It's literally where people go to throw their money away. But no, they were always saying, Trump's a businessman, he'll fix the economy. Yeah, and Jeffrey Dahmer was a chef, but you don't invite him to dinner. They wanted a straight shooter. Congrats, you got one. And he shot you straight in the face and then blamed it on China. You'd hear them say, we need to go back to the way America used to be. Yeah, you did. Now your farm's gonna be auctioned off like it's 1932. I mean, you brought back full Depression-era cosplay. But I mean, hey, one woman's emails were too fishy and the other one's laugh was weird, right?
I can't help it. I have to chime in about these Iowa farmers. All the stuff that everyone has already said, I absolutely agree with. All the FAFO feelings, and yes, you got what you voted for. But I want to chime in and say, I feel bad as well. It's like you're a victim of your own echo chamber. You're a victim of misinformation. You're a victim of what rural life is like, to isolation. And it's kind of what's wrong with America. We're so big and there's so much country and there is so much isolation. But you know what? We have so much access to information. There is no excuse anymore. If you're laying in bed at night and you're worried about your home, your livelihood, your legacy, the roof over your head and the food in your mouth, check on that echo chamber. Maybe crack it open.
Breaking news. MAGA farmers across the United States are crying and complaining about the Chinese not buying their products. What? Yes. The MAGA farmers across the United States are complaining, those that grow soybeans, beef, pork, wheat, corn, fruit, and vegetables, dairy, are all complaining. I think they're whining. I think they want to bail out. What do you all think? I don't think bail them out. I think F around and find out. FAFO, yes, sir. It is estimated that the Chinese now have canceled 26 billion with a B, dollars of contracts that they were going to purchase from U.S. farmers. They're not going to purchase from U.S. farmers now. They're purchasing it from the Russians, from Central and South America countries, and from Canada to fill the needs that the United States farmers would have provided. But because of Donald Trump's tariffs, it's not going to happen now. So you know what? You voted for him. You get the tariffs. He told you he was going to do the tariffs. We are not going to use our tax dollars to bail them out. No. They use the tax dollars to bail out the rich, and I'm opposed to it. What do you think? Bail out these MAGA farmers that voted for Trump? I say, you know what? You lay down with dogs, you get up with fleas. You voted for him. You voted for it. He told you he's going to do it. Now you get to suffer the consequences. FAFO. No bailout for any of these whining farmers that voted the wrong way. Suffer the consequences. Love to know what my Democrats, my MAGAs, my crazies, my cuckoos, and my burn down light bulbs. No bailouts. Period.
Okay, yeah, did I fuck around? Did I find out? Yeah, am I going broke because of fucking tariffs? I goddamn near went broke because of tariffs. But guess what, guys? I got 2 fucking checks in the mail today from the United States Department of fucking Agriculture. One was only for $250,000 and one was only for $126,000. Fucking Trump literally thinks that I can live off of $380,000. He literally thinks that I'm going to live off of $380,000 this year after all the havoc that he caused with fucking tariffs in our splorn crop. I can't sell my fucking splorn. China is the only place that buys splorn other than Antarctica, and both of those fucking countries will not take our fucking splorn. My goddamn son wants a brand new fucking pickup. He does not want my pickup with 11,000 miles on it. And I can't buy him that fucking pickup. Maybe with those subsidies I can, but I gotta see what my fucking vacation home in fucking Paris is gonna cost me this year.
So I don't know if you guys have seen, but farmers are really struggling right now. I've seen plenty of videos from farmers on this app pleading with the Trump regime to give them help because the tariffs are ruining families and farmers. And I would just like to remind you guys that J.D. Vance co-founded a company called Acre Trader that allows venture capitalists to pool their money together and buy up farmland. Now, I have a question for you. Do you think it's a coincidence that now all of a sudden, generational farmers are now losing their farms? See, MAGA thought they were going to drain the swamp, but in reality, they just gave it to the alligators.
Buzzy B. Teacher here, political satirist. And I have to talk about two very uncomfortable subjects. But I hope you stick and listen, because it affects all of us, not just me. Trump is now destroying our economy. That's the name of the game. You know, some time ago, we looked at this orange, and I told you it was beginning to rot. Well, it's gotten a lot worse. And just like this orange, Trump's policies are rotting our country. It's the tariff, postal service. Oh my God. It's not delivering anything from Europe because it's all sitting in the post offices waiting to have the tariff paid. You know, if we were one big family and Trump was the person on the top paying the bills, we would very quickly take away his ability to do so.
So farmers are the backbone of this country. There is no denying that. They produce the food that eventually gets put into the stores that you and I buy and put onto our plates when we eat dinner with our family. But the farmers in Arkansas right now are having a bit of an issue because of the weather conditions, like all the flooding, and the high costs of everything that were already existent before Trump became president. But now the tariffs are affecting them even more because, believe it or not, farmers' equipment, like their tractors and everything else, they get their parts to repair them from foreign countries. Even John Deere has a supply chain in China. And specifically these farmers, they were one of Trump's biggest demographic support groups. All of them, if not the majority of them, voted for Trump. And now they're asking for a government handout because his tariffs are affecting everything. They're asking him to help them. They're asking him for equal share of companies across the board, for private corporations to be out of the picture and let them run all the stock options. And I'm sitting over here like, that's fucking socialism. You want equal everything for everybody. That's socialism. And that's something you guys said was bad. So I need y'all to bend over, grab them bootstraps, and pick your fucking selves up, because this is the shit you fucking voted for. No pity for me at all.
Thank you so much for watching this video. If you found this breakdown helpful, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and drop a comment with your thoughts and opinion. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again in the next one. Bye for now.